Hello and welcome to my channel, Making Up the Magic. I know it's a real channel. I'm behind, okay? Like a lot behind, but that's okay. I hope you're sitting down. Really, I do. I'm starting a new thing today. Now, don't get me wrong, there will be makeup histories. It's just that those things really take a lot of time to do the research. I really want it to be of some value to you, historical value. So in the meantime, in order to practice my camera time, don't mind me, and share my knowledge with you, I wanted to do something called makeup memories. Now, it's kind of corny. The concept is we're going to look at specific looks in time, and we're going to sort of try and dupe them without really going into palettes or anything specific. I just want to talk about colors and how you can basically find these colors in your makeup collection. Today's ironic subject, more than ironic, I would say, cynical. No, ironic's the right word, is modern Renaissance, because, well, it's been around for a long time, and when I checked it out, it's still available. You can still purchase this, at least on Sephora. And we're going to be paying homage to that palette today by not using it. I know it's a strange concept, but it'll make more sense with other looks that don't really have any palettes connected to them. But I remember this very, very specifically. It was 2015. I was just beginning to do makeup, and I was working with really young models, doing it twice a month. It's called Time for Print. So if you want to be a professional makeup artist, it's something that you can do in your town. And I was working with these makeup professional palettes, and I was trying to figure out how to mix these colors to create skin tones and do no makeup. I was watching Lisa Eldridge. Hi, I'm sure you don't watch this. Thank you, Lisa. Showing me how to do makeup that didn't look like a mask. Not that there's anything wrong with looking like a mask. I was really into no makeup at the time, and natural beauty and all that BS. You know, beauty is just fun. So now I remember seeing this palette and going, whoa. And I remember seeing people doing makeup on Instagram with this palette and going like, whoa. It just went over my makeup virgin, head, because my mother never wore makeup, and the women around me didn't wear any makeup either. So I was clueless. I know why I went down that road, why I did that journey. It's because of Vogue and Bazaar. I just blame you guys. I so blame you. And you've made my therapist rich. Vogue had me convinced back then that it was the clothes. That's why I went into fashion. But really, what I really, really loved, and I realized it in 2015, was the looks. I loved the characters that these women would play, and they'd be like, glamorous, models. That's what I liked. I liked the whole character, the look, the makeup, the hair, the clothes, the face, everything together. And I'm going to revisit a palette that I never bought. I did buy, however, I will confess, the Chanel Quad that came out like 2 years later. It's called Candor and Innocence, I think, and that one is available too. I mean, go figure. And lastly, let's not forget about Charlotte Tilbury. She's kind of the one who started this trend of reddish toned smoky eyes in 2010 when she started working in fashion. And then Anastasia Beverly Hills just took that and made a palette out of it. Thank you, Anastasia. And then after that, there was Tom Ford. And guess who did the original color selection for Tom Ford? Charlotte Tilbury. You guessed it. And today she has her own makeup line with a reddish tone palette. So I'm going to show you how to get the look without having to buy any of these expensive palettes. And if you already have a stash, we can shop your stash. That's even better. Maybe all you need to do is source one or two singles, and voila, you have the look. So here's my roundup of all the colors that I will be using. You don't have to get the exact same colors. Just get colors that you like and that are similar to these. This first red here is by a Japanese brand called Addiction. I know, right? They really know us. It's called Dark Saffron. I got it from Japan. This color here is called Brunâtre. It's from Surrat Beauty. I think they're discontinuing their shadows, so just make sure if you like this one to buy it ASAP. It is expensive. This one here is by Nars. It's called Persia. It is a permanent item. It's been there for a long time. This right here is called Berry Blitz by Looxie Beauty. This color here is Pumpkin from the Jennifer Lopez collaboration with Inglot. These three circles here are by Coastal Scents. Unfortunately, they are closing shop. The top one here is called Chamois. This next color here is called Oktoberfest, a nice brownie orange. This color here is called Dark Roast, yes. At the end, we have these two squares. They're from the Safari palette by Natacha Denona. The top one is called Tamarind, and the bottom one is called Shea. And this lonely one here is called Buzzkill. It's from the Honey palette by Colourpop. I know, lovely. So I'll swatch these on my skin so you can see what they look like to give you an idea if you want to find something similar or not, or improvise your own color palette. Now let's get into this look. I was really inspired by the recent reels on Charlotte Tilbury's Instagram, and one of them featured Kate Moss, the iconic Kate Moss. I thought, why not try and emulate this look on myself? Of course, I have round eyes, so I'm going to do the makeup for my round eyes. I'm going to explain a little bit what I do, but feel free to modify anything for your own personal eye shape. So let's start in with this crease brush, blending crease brush by Sephora. They have this without the fancy limited edition. It was with Mara Hoffman. So after going into the skin tone shade, I'm just going to lightly deposit some of that into the crease. I've already primed my eyes with a concealer. I like my primer to be bright, especially when I'm doing smoky tones. Sometimes when there's too much white in the base, it can bring out the ashiness of the colors. In this case, I want the colors to look warm and rich. I'm going to use this Lucky Number 13 by Rèphr, and I'm going to dip into the taupe shade, the reddish taupe shade called Brunâtre by Surrat. I'm just going to take some off on the back of my hand, and now I'm just going to go into the crease. So I just want to very lightly define the crease. I avoid any crinkling in my skin, but there will be crinkling. So what I'm going to do is go over it. For the next step, I'm going to use this Nastelle brush. I'll put it in the description box. I'm dipping it between the skin tone shade and the Tamarind shade from the Safari palette. And I just want to go over this. Go like that. Just blend the colors. I'm going to go back into this fluffy brush by Sephora, into the skin tone shade. Just going to blend the edge here. And as a final step, I'm going back into the number 13, into that taupe shade. taking some off on the back of my hand. I'm just going to go over it once more. The more you blend, the more it works. There's no magic to it, just blending. So there. First step, done. Now for the next step, I'm going to lightly line my eyes. I'm using the dark roast color. And I'm just going to do the kind of liner that I usually do on myself. Oh, by the way, this brush is a brush that I got in a gift set. It's not in production anymore. Not that it doesn't exist. And because my eyes are round, it just looks better when it's just a bit thicker here in the corner, like that. I'm going to do the same on the other eye with the dark roast color. Just want to line up. It doesn't have to be super precise as long as you sort of even it out. I'm just trying to scoop it out. Now I'm going to take this round Rèphr brush, number 1. I'm going to go back into the taupe shade, Brunâtre, and I'm just going to pat it on the outside like this and blend it in. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. We're blending into this part here. I'm just spreading it out here. I'm going to just add a touch more here. I'm going over the lash line as well. And I'm switching the brush to the other side that's not used. I'm just going to blend. Now I'm going to take this same brush. I'm going to dip it between the red shade and a bit of the skin tone shade. I just want to go on very slowly. And I'm going to apply the red over this. So I want the color to shift. So I'm applying the red over those shades to a more red tone. I'm going to use the back of the brush just to blend. So you see how we made this more neutral taupey color go red with just one red shade. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Use the number 1 Rèphr brush, and I'm just going to pat on that red. Just keep going back over it. Now I'm going to go back to this small little brush, back into the dark roast color, and we're going to go back in over that color. Same on the other side. If ever the powder shadow grabbed in an area that is a little bit too intense, I'm just going to take this cotton bud and I'm just going to ease. So whenever you see like a small mistake like that, there's nothing like the cotton blood, wow. There's nothing like a cotton bud. And now guess what? We're going to go back into that dark roast color and do the liner again. I know this is fussy. And hit the end, we're hitting the inner corner again and blending out. That way you get a really soft line effect. And especially if you have more mature lids, this is going to look much better. I'm going to take a little bit on the same brush of that taupe color. And I'm just going to put it on the edge here. Right on the edge, just to blend that line. Like that. And if it fades, you go back in, and this time I'm just going to stamp it. And just a bit of that taupe shade on the edge. Go back in just to blend that. And then back into the dark roast. And we're just going to sharpen it up. If you want to intensify this, you can always use a pencil on top or black eyeshadow. The same color, dark roast, and I'm just going to line the bottom lash line from the outside in. I'm going to do the same here from the edge into the eye. Now I'm going to go into the pumpkin shade from the Jennifer Lopez and Inglot collab, and I'm just going to blend this out. Same on this side. I didn't clean the brush in between. I really want the colors to mix. Orange shade, and right here on the edge, I'm just going to go lower like that, just to extend the eye over there. Same here. Now if you want, you can put a shimmer in the center, but I won't. I'm going to keep it matte like this. I like it like that. Kate Moss, get out of this body. I'm going to blend the edges out down here. So a bit of skin tone shade. And I'm just going to go here very gently blend that out. Back into the same brush with a bit of that orange on top. And the same brush with nothing on it. And you blend it out. So I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to get a bit of a black color from the Maybelline, the Nudes palette that I've been using. And I'm just going to stamp it on at the edge here just to give that oomph. And you can use an even more precise brush to get an even more flickier Charlotte Tilbury. But I'm going to use this brush. I'm going to do it on the other side. Just to connect here on the waterline. Wow, this side's nicer. So again, if this happens, I like to take the cotton bud. I'm just going to diffuse the edge. And by reusing the same side of the cotton bud, you're taking off less product and you're just helping to blend that. And underneath. And now all I need to do is put on some mascara and I'll be right back. So before I put on the mascara, I watched the footage and I realized that the cotton bud was removing product from the lid. And especially on this side, there's like little gaps where it removed the taupe shade. So I'm going to go back in and fix that with you, because I really want to show you like the process of doing makeup, which is basically painting. Now, if you want to do something a little bit more subtle like this, you really need to take it easy. I know it's a very hard thing to do. So I'm taking the Rèphr number 13 brush. I've put a bit of taupe on this side here, and I'm just taking it off, and I'm gonna stretch my lid, and I'm just going to go in there and apply And I'm going to take a bit of that skin tone shade on the end of the brush. I'm going to go back in. I have also noticed that the liner is a bit more wonky on this side than this side. I'm going to take this MAC lip brush number 310. And why I like lip brushes sometimes to do liners is they have this sort of slightly fuzzy end. It's not too precise, because sometimes with shadow you don't want everything to be precise, especially with smoky eyes, and especially as your lids get more mature, you want the edges to be soft. So I'm going to go back into that dark roast color, and I'm just going to, yeah, I think it's because my skin is saggy. Yeah. You see, that did it. Aging. And then I'm going to go back into this brush. I'm just going to gently blend the edge. So now they're a little bit more even. Now they don't have to be exactly sharp the same way or blurry in the same way. Once you put on the lashes, you won't see them. And I'm going to put on the lashes now. Put on the lashes. What am I talking about? I'm not putting on lashes for this one. I'm going to use my curlers. I want to do this eye on camera because I have very thin Asian type lashes. I'd like to use this primer. It's by Essence. I love this product. It's really helped my lashes register on camera. Now for this look, you don't have to put lower lashes, especially if you're fair. But for the camera, I'm going to put something on. I'm just going to put on this Giga Lash by MAC. It's nice to have a bit of mascara when you smoke the lower lash line, especially at the roots here. And I go in with this Maybelline Great Lash. Great Lash is from the 60s, and it's probably not the same formula as from the 60s. But what I like about it, this formula in particular, it's very liquidy. So because I've already have a primer on, I don't want something that grabs and clumps. And this one really glides on because it's so liquidy. I just stamp it like this. Hi. I like my mascara face. Hit the top. And if you want something even darker, this Giga Lash is black. Put some on like that. Sorry for the accent. It pops out of me. And you can see, so this is one look, the soft look. And now we are going to do a second look. I know this is a lot of looks. And the second one is going to be inspired by the Chanel ad featuring Kristen Stewart that came out for the, what's it called again? Candor and Innocence palette. We're going to do something a little bit more red, more dramatic. On the Rèphr 2, I'm going to go into the Shea shade from the Safari palette. I'm going to use the same side that I've used for all the other colors. I'm just going to test the shade. Okay, so I'm just going to apply this on the outside here. Just very lightly tap it like that. And this is something I would do in the day when I was doing a lot of time for prints, as I would do a soft look and then I would turn it into an intense look. So I'm just going to take the other side of the brush. I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna go back into the shade. I'm going to do the same here. I'm just going to put it on the corner here. Very lightly tap it on. It's less red. And there's a touch of purple in the dark roast, so they won't necessarily mix. I'm going in like halfway, because on my eyes this looks good. I'm going to switch it to the other side and blend that. I'm just taking some of it off from here, the center. There's just a touch too much. I'm going to go into the Nastelle brush that I've dipped into the taupe shade. And I'm just going to blend this on. There's also a touch too much right here. Just gonna wipe some of that off. It's okay if it's not perfect. It's a smoky eye. It's not supposed to be perfect. Just gonna go back in with the back of the brush. I'm going to take whatever's left on the brush. I'm going to bring it under. I'm going to go back into this big brush with a bit of skin tone shade. I'm just going to blend this edge here. Blend, 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 and reblend. Then I'm going to go into number 1 and I'm going to dip it into the raspberry shade, the berry shade, Berry Blitz. I'm going to take some off. I'm just going to tap some over this. To make this part more red. And lightly tap, take it off on the bottom. We're going to go back into the skin tone shade and we're going to blend the edges. Oops, and like that. And here. As a final step, I'm going to take this very fluffy Nastelle brush. The number will be down below. And I'm going to dip it into the Persia shade. I'm just going to take some of it off. And I'm just going to round and blend that red with the orange tone, like that. It's kind of a vampire look. And if I had blue or green eyes and dark hair, this would look bomb on me. But I think in real life, this would be where I would stop. In pictures, it's always good to have something like more extraordinary and more eye-grabbing, and you could actually go further than this, but I won't. I will let you figure out what you need to do. But I hope this helped. When in doubt, always reblend, blend, use all of the colors and reblend. That's the best way to do the smoky. If you want, you can also deepen it up with some black, but I won't. I prefer kind of this sort of soft liner with a smoky. It always looks good. And it doesn't look too aggressive either, which is something that I like. Yeah, my lips look a little bit dead on camera. So I'm going to put a bit of gloss, nude gloss. Kind of like Kate Moss. But if you want to do the grungy version like Kristen Stewart, you could put on the red lipstick and, you know, bring out your blue or green eyes and look all vampire-like. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed these convertible looks, which quote Modern Renaissance, my favorite 2015 palette that I never bought. And I hope you have a great week or a great weekend. If you like this tutorial, hit like. And if you want to see more memories or vintage content, well then I invite you to subscribe, my friend. Oh, that was cheesy, but I'm going to keep it in because I'm cheesy sometimes.